Hello, my name is... Oh, hang on. Am I still invisible? I was supposed to switch off my invisibility, but I forgot. Hang on 2 seconds. And there we are. Great. So, hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for yet another episode of Fighting Fantasy Fun as we get towards the final furlong of Masks of Mayhem Fighting Fantasy book number 23. And even though I initially said of this book I didn't really like it and I thought the structure was a bit somehow, after having played it several times now, I've come to really appreciate that this book is a really good puzzle when it comes to finding the right way, or the best way. And I really like it, actually. So yeah, even though it's got some minor foibles, it's not a big deal. It works really well, and I quite like it. So the last few episodes, I've had to sort of continue from where I left off, and I'm doing this episode as well. So if you don't know what's going on, if you watched the previous episode, I can put a link to that, I suppose, up. That is here, isn't it? Because in the beginning I do a recap, so if you're wondering what was going on. So, let's just get started, shall we? Right, here we are on my desk. I've got my supplies, I've got my book, I've got my map, got my character sheet, which looks quite messy, and that is because, of course, I've used it now several times, and I've got all the things I've found, all the changes in abilities, all the battles I've fought. I've got my maps. This is just the last sheet of the map, because that's where I will be this playing session. And also got my pens and my pencil and my dice. And most importantly, perhaps of all, a nice cup of tea. Twinings, Earl Grey, hot, with milk and sugar, Hakon style. And of course, if you want to learn how to do that, I've got a video with a tutorial as well. Right. What was I going to say? Yes, I just moved my phone needs to be somewhere else. So this is a continuing of the previous episode that I've played. So if you really want to know what happened, you can watch that, of course. And but I'll just do a very quick recap anyway. So you are, in this book, the hero. You, the reader, is the leader of a domain known as Arion, or Orion, could be both or either. And one day your wizard comes to you, says that he has seen in a vision, or he's traveling the astral plane, that the evil sorceress of Morgana is trying to take over the world, and she's doing this by controlling the 12 sigils of existence, turning them into masks that she can put on golems. That's where you get the illustration here on the front. Oh, actually, I could do this camera now. So this is a golem here, and he's wearing a sigil here. So, oh, need to change my focus back again. There we are. And so, she has 11 out of 12. When she gets to 12th, she will be unstoppable. You have to stop her, and it has to be you that has to stop her, because being a good, benevolent leader and a person overall goody two-shoes, you are more resistant to evil magic than anyone else. So you go to your armorer, get your helmet, your sword, your family helmet, by the way, also a symbol of leadership, and then you set off to Fallowdale, because your armorer tells you that Heather in Fallowdale, the leader of Fallowdale, might be able to help you with a horn that can fend off evil. So you leave Arion, you can go through the forest or go through the hills. If you go through the forest, you meet some elves, you meet some other things, you can get lost as well. And if you meet the elves, you can accidentally kill them, which would be a bad thing. And if you don't kill them, you might be able to get a glimpse of a little clue as to what you're supposed to do. And that's to get a scepter and an orb, symbols of leadership, that if you... sacred symbols of leadership, I should say, that if you stand in a certain place with the scepter and the orb, something will happen and you will get help. So You also meet a wight who has a magic sword that you can take from him, and therefore you will be better at fighting. Very nice. Right, so, and then you get to Fallowdale, and there in Fallowdale there are some pygmy orcs that suddenly show up trying to steal your stuff. Well, specifically they steal the helmet, which you really need to keep because it's such an important helmet. There is actually a rumor, or a legend, I should say, that if the helmet is ever lost, that the domain of Arion will fall into chaos. You don't want that. And also suddenly your armorer shows up and he's turned into a demon. So there's something going on. Somebody knew you were going to be at Heather's castle in Fallowdale. Somebody tried to lure you away to kill you. So it's clear that somebody is behind the scenes pulling the strings. I've always been suspicious of my court wizard, Ivor Tynan, that he is behind everything. So that's my theory, and I'll stick by it. I'll stick by it until the very end. So, in order to get the help of Heather, that is to say the Horn, he says that he will either wants a magic item, a mirror, or he wants you to go and kill a saber-toothed cat for him. If you have the magic mirror, then you lose the game, because that means you must have stolen it from the elves by killing them, meaning you're evil, and therefore you are not worthy. And if you help with the, very selflessly, try to help with the big cat hunt, then you would be worthy if you make it. It's quite tricky to get the big cat hunt successful, to succeed at that. I did it once, but not the other times. So I didn't make that, so I don't get the horn, but yeah, I might be able to get by without it. Right, and then you leave and you travel through plains, you travel through sort of a moorland, and you get to a, I can skip that actually, you get to a bushfire you have to escape, which is quite tricky, and then you get to eventually to a place where you can use the scepter and the orb to transport you to a different plane of existence, I should say, where you meet a kind of a wizard or a deity. I think she's a sorceress that got trapped in the other dimension, called Vishta, I think it was, if I remember correctly, who helps you out a little bit, gives you some clues, and it is possible, although I don't know for sure yet, whether having been there is also going to be essential later for winning the game. I do not know, but we'll find out today, I think. So, and then you keep heading for the mountains where the evil sorceress Morgana lives, and allegedly evil, I should say, because, yeah, I just have my Ivor Tynan's word for it. And that's where we find ourselves today. We went past a dragon, I believe, last time to find the entrance to... Is that where we ended last time? Yeah, we got to the cave, didn't we? So we are ready to go into the lair of Morgana. So I'll just start from where you have a choice of the doors. So yeah, let's get started. Okay. So I'll just make sure I am focused. I am in focus. Nice to be in focus. I'm probably not in focus because the webcam isn't that great at keeping focus. And also, one thing about the web camera, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, the thing is, if I'm in focus, my background is not in focus, and that actually doesn't look that nice. If my background is in focus, I'm out of focus, and generally that actually looks a little bit better. So, yeah, in order for it to look nicer, the background would have to be more out of focus than it is when the focus is on me, I think. So, yeah, it's a compromise, but it'll do the job. It does the job. So this must be the entrance to Morgana's domain. Guttering torches line the walls, which stretch away in a straight line into the gloom ahead. You summon up all your courage and step into the tunnel. The torches do little to dispel the freezing cold, and even though you can see your way, you cannot shake off a sense of blackness. For here Morgana rules, and her heart is cold and black. The tunnel ends with a choice of 3 doors, next to one another on the northern wall of a small cavern. You take the wooden door in the middle, the stone door, or the iron door. And of course, there are a few places where you can get clues, very specific clues, telling you take the wooden door. And of course, I know this from before as well. The wooden door is the only correct one. The other ones will potentially kill you. The stone door will kill you directly. So yeah. So I'm going to 32. The wooden door. The door creaks open on rusty hinges. But no immediate danger confronts you. You hear the click of rats' claws across the stone ground as you advance up the tunnel, but you ignore them. There is only one way for you now, forward, and everything else is a distraction. However, the tunnel forks like a serpent's tongue. That's a very nice description there. The tunnel forks like a serpent's tongue. Well done. That is brilliant. Will you go left or right? So what did I do last time? I have been here before. It's been a long time, but I have been here before. I didn't go right last time. I went left, and it seemed left worked fine. So I'll stick to left now. Because last time I was here, I got into a cave where there were golems, and then I got to a spot there where there was a question, do you know anything about Gallerin? And of course now I know Gallerin. Gallerin, oh, by the way, I didn't mention that. So when you are on your way, just after you leave Arion, and you get to a lake, which is said to kill people, of course, called Lake Necros, Lake Death, basically. And if you camp by it, there's a kraken that comes and attacks you. And if you kill the kraken, all the people who've been killed by the kraken over hundreds of years are freed. And they come back as ghosts. And they tell you that we can help you once, only once, as a reward for having helped them to free their souls. And the leader of them is called Gallerin. So they are going to come and help me. So this is, yeah. So they will help me against the golems. That's my theory now. So that's what I'm planning to do. So, so I turn left, and it says, if you have the Horn of Heather, turn to 335. So this is where it also gives me another advantage, in addition to always giving a combat bonus against evil creatures as well. But I do not know. I'll just see what happens if you have it. I'm not going to go back and get it now. Oh no, something happens. But it looks like in this case, having it actually is a negative thing, because if you don't have it now, nothing happens. And if you have it, somebody attacks you. So yeah, so that's a penalty actually for owning it. A side passage opens up to your right. Will you take it or carry on straight? And this last time is where I went to the side passage, and I will do that again now. 369. The passage is not long and ends at a T-junction. You know that turning right would take you away from your goal, so you turn left, turn to 16. 16. I hope I don't miss anything important now by going the same way again. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. So you come to a large cavern which is not lit by torches. Will you enter the cavern or turn back and take the side passage? And of course, in normal life, you would have just taken a torch from outside and brought it back with you. But you just want to go into the darkness, not seeing anything there, which is a stupid idea, but that's what you do. So I will enter the cavern and go to 59. And here it says, 11 vast shapes loom out of the darkness. One of them lights a torch. And then you can see that the 11 golems are surrounding you. There is no time to get anything from your pack. If you can call on Gallerin, you will know where to turn. Otherwise, your body is mangled and your adventure is over. So this is what happened the first time I was here. But this time I know Gallerin. So Gallerin is, I think, I had a paragraph reference for Galrin. I'll just need to look at my map now. I think it was 100, but I'll just let me check now. Yes. So Galrin told me that the reference that I need is 100. So I'm going to now go to paragraph 100 and see what happens when we have Galrin on our side. Here we are. The spectral army appears and you stand back to let them do their work. It does not take long. Galrin salutes you and then he and his followers vanish forever. You are free to continue, and it soon turns out that the Golem's cavern was the antechamber to Morgana's throne room. That wasn't a very good description of the battle, was it? I could have done with a bit more flavour there and telling me exactly how the battle went down. You enter a vast cavern. Morgana herself is seated on a black throne in the centre. A black throne. She's sitting there and I've been expecting you. Yeah. Well, she doesn't do that. She doesn't do understated. Instead, she shrieks at you. So, you think you have destroyed my pets, do you? You fool. I can always make more. You leap towards her throne to stop her foul mouth forever. Turn to 295. 295. And that's her there, Morgana. I've seen this picture before somewhere. Is this a picture that is featured in You Are the Hero, perhaps? I've definitely seen it. Now you confront Morgana herself. She is so confident of victory that she allows herself to gloat over you. By all the dark forces, she cries, this is perfect. I've got you just where we wanted. We. She said we. I've got you just where we wanted. He was referring to someone else as well. I've been suspecting either Tynion, of course, of being behind this. Maybe we is she and Ivor. Then she leaps off her throne and at you. Her body is frail, but her magical powers more than compensate for lack of strength. You will be able to inflict only one stamina point of injury every time you wound her, or 2 if you use luck successfully. The cloak of temporary invisibility, if you have it, will not protect you in the slightest against anyone with magic powers. So, we have a battle now. I have skill 13 because I have the magic sword of the whites, and my stamina is 18, which is maximum, not very high. And I'm fighting 11-6, but of course I can only give her 1 point of stamina damage at a time. She doesn't use magic, it seems, apart from protecting herself. Makes it a little bit easier for me. I would have thought, the thing is, when you're fighting a magic user and you're not one yourself, there really should be some kind of special attacks and things like that in the game book, I think. So for instance, the way I would do it, I think, in if and when I make my own game book, if you fight someone who uses magic, you would say that, okay, after 2 rounds, or when they attack you the first time, go to this paragraph. And of course, that attack, instead of being a normal attack, is a spell attack, for instance. You can add more. That would be for a special fight, like a boss fight. But you can use several paragraphs for one battle to add a lot more flavor and interest to a battle. So that's something I've really been thinking about. And it has been done in several Fighting Fantasy game books too. So anyway, I've got a 2 skill point advantage. She rolls 9, I roll 9, which means I get first strike, and she's down to 5. She rolls 4, I roll 6, she's down to 4. She rolls 6, I roll 7, she's down to 3. She rolls 8, I roll 10, she's down to 2. She rolls 3, I roll 3, she's down to 1 stamina point. And she rolls 7, and I roll 12, and she is dead. And that was almost too easy. But it's not over yet, is it? Because she said we. There is somebody else here, surely. If you win and Morgana cursed you on Pikestaff Plain, turn to 4. Can Morgana curse me on Pikestaff Plain? I certainly haven't seen that paragraph, so didn't happen. Otherwise, turn to 81. Okay, so I'm forgetting to map here. So this is 295, and we're fighting 11-6 with special rules. And then we are going to either paragraph 4 or 81. And that is cursed for or not. I'm wondering if the curse, that is, because when you are on Pikestaff Plain, you find a burnt village, and you meet this old crone there. And if you give her the garnet ring, she helps you. She gives you a clue, I think. Is there a possibility that if you don't give her that she curses you, or that Morgana curses you through her or something? I don't know, that seems a bit strange. Anyway, because she wasn't Morgana, she was a witch, but she wasn't a bad witch. Anyway, I don't know. Doesn't matter. The main thing is I was not cursed. Let's see what happens if I were cursed. Just very quickly. Doesn't seem to make a difference. Okay. It just says if you talk to Vashti, which is the sorceress in the other plane of existence. Okay, so we get a question here in 81. If you talk to Vashti, which I did, that's the person you spoke to, or when you find the scepter and the orb and stand between the oak trees. Turn to 258. Otherwise, turn to 347. Okay, so 347. Not and 258 Vashti. Now this is a bit interesting because I was curious to see whether finding the scepter and orb were essential, because the way that why that's interesting to me is that you actually, it's quite hard to find the orb. It's so easy to miss. I'm gonna go back there later and see what happened if you didn't talk to Vashti, just to see if that is yeah. Yes. You would have lost the game if you didn't talk to Vashti, actually, which means that finding the orb is absolutely essential. So everything begins to fall into place. The realization that your mission was a trap. Morgana describing the plan as if it were not just hers alone. Kevin treacherously slain. Kevin, that is the armorer. You have been puzzling over all this for some time. Actually, I have been puzzling over all this for some time. If your suspicions have fallen on a particular person, you should be able to work out which paragraph to turn to. Otherwise, turn to 347. Okay. Now, from the very first time, if you remember back, the very first time I read the background, I found myself suspecting Ivar Tynan of being up to no good. But is there any number reference in... There's definitely no number reference that... So there must be... Yeah. So if there's no number reference to his name, and it says work out, so there must be a clue in the name in that case. So his name is Ivar Tynan, and immediately now I see that that actually spells out 40 in the middle there. There's a nin, it could be 9, so that means it should either be 40 or 49 at a stretch, I suppose. Could that be right? Paragraph 40. Paragraph 40, should we go with paragraph 40? And of course, if you get the wrong one here, of course, it won't make any sense. Yeah, I'm going to go with paragraph 40 and see what happens. 40, yeah, it seems too obvious, doesn't it? Yeah, it must be that, because it has to be obvious as well. Yeah, paragraph 40. I think Ivar Tynan is the one what done it. I've thought it the whole time. He's been behind it, and paragraph 40. Ah, yes. So, as soon as the sorceress has slumped to the ground, you whirl around and find just who you expected. So that's Ivar Tynan then. It doesn't say, actually. With his dagger raised to strike you in the back, he curses you for your cleverness and lunges at you. The traitor, it says. That's pretty clever, actually, because it doesn't give it away. If you accidentally see this paragraph, you wouldn't know. So, but he's a wizard. He should be able to use... Why is he using a dagger? Why doesn't he use a magical attack? These sorcerers are useless. Or maybe it's because, actually, Ivar did say this in the beginning, didn't he? That... or the sorcery, that it wouldn't affect neither good nor bad. Evil sorcery would actually be very strong against you because you were such a good pure heart. So 8, 10. So 5 skill point advantage now. 11, 4. Okay, he hits me the first time. 7, 6. 7, 9. My luck is 12. I'll just use some luck as well, just to do extra damage. He rolls 6, I roll 10. I do roll for luck again, and my luck is down to 10, but he is dead. And then it says, if you win, turn to 400. So that is 40, and then we go to 400, 8, 10. Victory is yours. The masks of mayhem will not be released upon the land, at any rate, not in your lifetime. And that is a disappointingly short and colourless final paragraph, just like that battle against the golems was a little bit flavourless for my taste. Needed more salt, as you say in cooking. And that, my friends, is it. Let's do our whoosh. Right. That is actually it. So I was right. It was Ivar Tynan who was behind everything. And there was a clue in the name. I didn't notice that before. When you look for it, you just see it right away. It says 40 right there. It could have been 49, I suppose, but yeah, no. There's yeah. So I really liked this book because it had a very good puzzle. I mean, both the finding the right path was actually quite tricky in this one. Sorry, I lost it. Some on my map there. Finding the right path was quite a bit of work in this one. As you know, I've been almost everywhere now in the book, and even then, the right path was something I didn't find until quite late, and also finding the orb was really tricky. I even thought I'd been thorough and been over everywhere, and then I'd just go back and find there's some little thing that I missed. So yeah, a very exciting book. Sometimes a little bit sort of strangely anemic in its descriptions, sometimes really good in its descriptions. Some little continuity things that are weird, and of course a bit unfair as well, about the how you follow a path and then suddenly you get lost and you die. Instead of turning back, which should have been a possibility. So, yeah. So just generally, I would say I really like this book. I really do. As a game, it is really good, and also the writing itself in sort of paragraph isolation is good. But I would have liked some more fleshing out of some things, and also Morgana and Ivar Tynan at the end there. It could have been a little bit more. I don't know, they didn't... I suppose the big challenge of this book was finding the puzzle of finding the right path, and also finding the scepter and the orb, and also figuring out that Ivar Tynan was behind it. And of course, once you solve those puzzles, what remained wasn't necessarily that difficult. And I suppose that's a good thing as well. So you can't have everything be difficult about a book. For instance, if you have a book that's very linear, then the battles have to be hard. If you have one that is quite a complex puzzle of a maze or finding the right way, then of course the battle shouldn't be as hard, I guess. So all good stuff. So that means, as you know, that next time I will be playing Fighting Fantasy Roulette again, continuing from where I left off last time. I can't remember where that was now, and seeing if I can get further through the books. And after that, it is the next book, which is the very much meatier looking Creature of Havoc. Of course, this is also 460 paragraphs long. And this is the book where you start out not really knowing what's going on, which I quite like the concept of. I really liked Steve Jackson's books generally, so it'll be interesting to see how this one is. I hear it's quite complex, a bit of mapping required, etc. I'm really looking forward to that. So that's for not next time, but the time after. So next time there'll be Fighting Fantasy Roulette, and the time after there will be Creature of Havoc. So, do I have any other messages for you today? I don't think so. It's nice Monday morning here, and I've got other things to do. I've got other videos to make. Probably should go for a little walk as well, exercise the old legs, and I will see you in my next episode. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now. Bye-bye. Oh, do